question the question. Think about who you are and why you are the way you are. Is it because it's what you want, or is it because it's what you've inherited it? I'm so excited about this topic because inadvertently, I mean, I have some notes, but actually it's something I talk about all the time, consciously, subconsciously, like who am I and who am I not? And that's a conversation that happens almost every single day with myself, with my girlfriends, with Emmy, with Soph, with other friends, with colleagues, even with colleagues in the team that I'm building. We inherit so much. Our color, our race, our identity, our religion, our language, our food preferences. Am I a vegetarian, depending on what's happening in my household? Am I not? Am I a pescatarian? How does it all function? From the minute we are born, we are just inheriting. And we're inheriting things that shape who we are. But with that comes a lot of legacy and a lot of baggage and also a lot of strength. And I've been working for the last maybe almost decade now to reframe some of what I've inherited, and I'm going to share a little bit of that with you. So if you kind of follow me on LinkedIn or on Insta, you'll see that I am with Emmy and Soph, one of the co-hosts of Girlfriends, which you'll kind of hear a little bit more about later. If you look me up on LinkedIn, you'll find that I spent 20 years in investment banking, and then I served the Crown here in the UK, and then I turned to being an entrepreneur in the world of venture capital and broadly wealth venture partnership also. What you won't find is the journey behind that is very strongly linked to my generational trauma. So I am a survivor of multiple post-traumatic brain injuries. I'm a survivor of abuse in all its forms and glory. Flip side of that is last December, I had a private reception with Queen Camilla to recognize the fact that I've used that journey to help change policy and legislation, not only in the UK, but in multiple countries, to protect primarily women. But it's how you take it. If I sit back and I think about why I went through that journey, why I ended up being the one that's doing that work to change the status quo for other women, it's because of generational trauma. I did not come into the world thinking that women are subservient because that's how it is. I did not come into the world thinking that a good Indian wife is somebody that can cook and clean and take care of in-laws alongside waving a magic wand with a career and earning and providing. I did not come into the world thinking that taking physical abuse is acceptance because it's tolerance. All of that is generational trauma that was put onto me. And when I went through my journey, I'm a big follower of Oprah Winfrey. Some of you may love her, some of you may hate her, but I lived in the US for a while, and I'd watch Super Soul Sunday every Sunday without fail, where she interviewed amazing authors, and she, went into really, really deep history for certain demographics and geographies, and she really talked about why things have happened in the world the way they have. And one Super Soul Sunday session, I came across something that basically summarized it down into, for you to be here, there are 10,000 ancestors behind you. 10,000 ancestors. And so when I went through my process of breaking away from the hell that I was living in to kind of tick the box for society, it was the 10,000 ancestors that I was calling upon every single day. So on the one hand, I realized that the generational trauma that had been carried through me that led me to being the person that I was man-made rules, restrictions, and social norms that were not acceptable. Decided to flip the script. I decided that I was going to be the one that was going to break the curses that my bloodline had been waiting for. I was going to turn it around. I was going to make all my great-grandmothers, turn in their grave and stand up and be like, she's the one that we needed, because this is where it stops. The buck stops with her. No more trauma, no more drama, no more inequality, no more abuse, and it stops, and the pattern has to change. Now, I know it's a lot easier said than done, and I've lived through that, but what I do believe is that I still call upon those 10,000. I still call upon those 10,000 to give me strength when I need it. I still call upon those 10,000 when I have to go into a room and there's a lot of people and I have to stand up and speak and I'm nervous. and I say, give me the strength of my ancestors to help me face something. And I believe in that strength, but I believe you have to change the narrative. So when we talk about breaking the patterns of generational trauma, we have to separate out, like with everything in life, the light and the dark. And I call upon the light, and I think it's time to change the dark. And I think we all have a bit of that. And I see a lot of nods in the room. I'd love to get an example from someone, because I feel like some of you can resonate. So any volunteers?
Yeah. So in terms of breaking down narratives, I'm Nigerian, and I was brought up in a society where my father's generation as men just didn't go into the kitchen and didn't cook and, just didn't, just were served pretty much. And I think for me, now being in the UK, being married and raising boys, my children go into the kitchen, my boys cook and they clean, and they babysit, and they don't see it as domestic work, they just see it as home, caring for your home.
Being an adult.
Investing in your home, loving your home. So, yeah.
It's interesting because I'm a British Indian woman. My parents are East African, moved here in the 60s. My father didn't know how to make a cup of tea. He's passed away now, God rest his soul in peace. But he never learnt, and his mother would never have let him. Whereas, and I was always taught, this is how Indian families are. This is how a good Indian girl is. This is how a good Indian wife is. This is how Indian families are. I then moved to India, which is where I'm primarily based most of the year now. Every single couple I know is embodying equality. It's just called adulting. It's not that the men sit around and the women cook. It's not that the men just hire the help. Everything is a partnership. I have got male friends who are supporting their wives to do degree after degree, PhD after PhD. They're splitting the duties at home with the kids, with careers. They are absolute rock stars. So then who decided that this is the Indian way of life or the African way of life? It is utilized to create fear, okay? And fear is the mother of manipulation. But the minute you question the question and you say, well, actually, who created this? I mean, if I had the nerve 20 years ago to say, hang on a minute, I've got two brothers. Who said that they don't have to learn to cook and clean, but I do? Why? Nobody would have been able to answer it, but it's pressure. And then that fear and that manipulation creates a snowball effect, and we all keep succumbing to it. So what I'm going to leave you with is this. Question the question. Think about who you are and why you are the way you are. Is it because it's what you want, or is it because it's what you've inherited it? If you've inherited it, it's okay to sit and think about whether it's the right thing for you. And I think it's important to keep our own evolution going and really explore, does this make sense for me and what I want to embody? And I love the example you gave with your sons, because again, you're the one that's changing the narrative in your bloodline. You're saying, no, going forward in this bloodline, men and women will be equal. And then you will be changing that generational trauma or removing that generational trauma for the next generation and so forth. I'm going to leave you there. Thank you.